art is nothing new to our world. For thousands of years, we have been able to uncover rock art that was completed by civilizations we may never have heard of. What does this tell us about communication? Did those ancient civilizations know more than what they have been given credit for? One would have to say they understood something about communication. That it is possible to communicate with future generations, future civilizations by drawing pictures. Pictures are a universal form of communication all over and for as long as life has been. Located on the outskirts of Lima, Peru, lay some astonishing drawings etched right into the stone hard ground. The Nazca Lines of Peru have the three basic types of lines in the drawings. This does not mean that all the lines are straight. There are geometric lines and pictorial lines as well. Dating back at least 2,000 years, these gigantic lines and pictures are only visible from the air. These geoglyphs are made up of multiple shapes, lines, and forms. Virtually any design one can think of had been etched in the stone hard ground. There are zigzag lines, swirls, spirals, arrows, and geometric shapes. But how? How could something so large be made 2,000 years ago? The design is perfect. Do you know what it would take to make a geoglyph that is so large, so perfect? Well, neither do the researchers. There is no explanation as to how this was accomplished. These geoglyphs represent animals, humans, and plants. Most recently, Japanese researchers have discovered another large geoglyph that appears to represent the trophy heads that were collected by the Nazca civilization. Peruvian and Japanese researchers continue to locate more geoglyphs as time goes by. One appears to be and is nicknamed the astronaut. Another one shows what appears to be a mythological creature with long legs, long arms, and a tongue that is just as long. It is thought that these lines were etched into the ground after removing the top foot to 1.5 feet of soil, rocks, and other dirt. There are many thoughts as to what the geoglyphs symbolize, with many researchers stating they believe it is astronomical in depiction, while some also stated calendar purposes, aliens, and constellations. Although protected by UNESCO as historical archaeology, there have been people who get through the security and have begun to destroy these ancient drawings. Australian Aboriginal civilizations, that is those who lived in Australia before the British began coming over, created rock art that depicts mythological symbols of climate needs. In other words, they are said to represent the clouds and rain. When put all together, researchers have determined that these drawings are stories, actually more like lessons that were left to teach future generations how to care for the land and its people. Did these Aboriginal people have the ability to spread their message far and wide, and to pass down generation to generation, and teach the lessons that they learned? These drawings have begun much conversation in regards to the meanings. The pictures depict what appear to be some form of human, but with no mouth. The reason for this is said to be that they controlled the rain. If they had been given a mouth, the rain may never stop. Another possibility is believed to be that since these mythological beings were so powerful, they did not need mouths to speak. The Wandjina did not just make these depictions on rock walls, they also collected slabs of bark and drew on those. But how did they know that the next civilization would understand their depictions? Why did they draw these humanoid shapes with no mouth? Which, by the way, look strikingly similar to how aliens are described today. These depictions were meant to be instructional and were also used in ceremonies. These bark depictions were considered to be transient items. Most of us would assume that this meant these artworks, depictions, instructions, or ceremony objects traveled to other locations and possible other civilizations. No matter the meaning, we certainly hope the Aboriginal peoples took these depictions seriously. The ghost-like appearance and no mouth would be enough to straighten anyone up. The Wandjina rock art is not as old as other art that has been discovered that leaves far more questions unanswered than what we began with. The ancient pictographs of the Ural are located mostly along rivers such as the Neva, the Tagil, and Rez rivers, among many others. Ural pictograms were painted by the indigenous Ural population. When this civilization painted, they most often used their fingers. Of course, for as large as some of the pictographs are, it is evident that they used an extender or something that helped them reach higher. That could be something as simple as standing on other rocks. Why are these drawings different from others? What makes the Ural population pictographs different and unique? What we are learning is that the majority of the drawings are aligned to the south. Some of the lines are 4 to 5 centimeters thick. The Ural drawings do not depict all animals, though, such as the land animals depict deer, road deer, and moose for the most part. The drawings of birds depicted that have been found are waterfowl. Within many of the drawings, researchers have found what appear to be snakes and bears, and some depict human-type drawings, more of a skeleton drawing with the internal organs drawn. Up until 2001, it was widely believed that all the Ural pictograms were drawn by hand. However, they have since uncovered some carvings that are attributed to the Ural populations. The Ural population does not leave us with just some drawings. They needed to leave us with an unexplained mystery also. Stretching over 800 kilometers, north to south are some rather intriguing petroglyphs that are filled with geometric lines and shapes, and some very strange figures. It has been determined that these were created up to 5,000 years ago. The curiosity does not include the age of these depictions, it is the figures in the depictions. How would a nation that is 4,000 to 5,000 years old be able to depict letters, numbers, and what appears to be some highly complex chemical formulas? This is so quizzical that Tsar Peter I hired Yakov Loziov to return to the area and make an exact replica of the symbols. Mysteriously, the symbols are exact for the following chemicals: polyethylene, polyvinyl chloride, amphotericene, and fluorocycline. How did this ancient population come up with this knowledge? How would they have known so far ahead of when the actual formulas were made known? So maybe that does not have you scratching your head. How about the number of strange symbols that were discovered and appear to depict the formula and chemical compound for antibiotics? There is no humanly way that this was possible so long before. To have the exact chemical formula depicted in drawings from an ancient civilization that had no knowledge of medicine or chemicals. What or who helped this group of people to know these symbols? What or who told them how to draw them to be exact replicas of the formulas we use in current-day medical technology? Is it possible that all these depictions that we have seen had been aided by creatures that traveled from other planets? Are other planets so far advanced compared to Earth that 4,000 to 5,000 years ago they were teaching them about chemical formulas and antibiotics? This is an answer we may never fully understand. Perhaps someday in the future, the mysteries will be solved. Stay tuned for more next time. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up icon. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notifications for new videos.